Welcome to late stage capitalism, David. You're going to start me off.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Get Your Deck Out podcast, your weekly Magic the Gathering roundup of everything going on in our space, our time, our continuum. I don't even know if we're on planes or anything anymore.
Let's not get existential on a Sunday, man. It's Easter weekend. No one knows what day it is. They'll be seeing this on Tuesday. Everyone will be in an Easter egg hangover.
No one knows apart from Levens MTG. As with me, as always, here to talk about the game we love. And, well, the game we love is literally on Easter break. And we are what could only probably be said at the end of the semester, looking back at what has been an interesting couple of sets, an interesting standard season.
Well, I wouldn't call TMNT that interesting in the grand scheme of things, but Lorwyn in particular had a really big impact. We're not going to talk about Strixhaven that much this week. That'll probably be next week when we've got hopefully the whole set by then. But that one looking interesting too.
Yeah, class is almost in session if you are of the UK-based persuasion, but this might happen in other countries. This would be when your parents are taking you to the uniform shop and you are starting to size yourself out for a blazer and some ties, starting to think about how you want to cover your books, like what's going to be your bag, and most importantly, how warm your coat's going to be. That's probably the most British reference I've ever made on this podcast.
That's also, you can tell that you're not a kid, because kids don't give a shit how warm their coat is. They care what the coat looks like. But us, in our older years, shall we say, we're like, yeah, but I don't want some thin crap that's not going to keep me warm. If I'm putting a coat on, it needs to be a proper coat.
Absolutely. That's where we're at. You know, we've just started to either unsleeve, or should we just say, like, put to the side the standard decks we've been playing for the last couple of months. Scott, if you'd have told me we'd have got to this podcast of this week and we were not talking about any of the big hitters being banned, that would have been my first I don't believe you moment. But here we are.
Yeah, I think at least part of that mentally is that in the modern day, people complain about cards needing to be banned. It seems like more and a lot quicker. I don't know if that's just Arena because people are playing almost every day as opposed to, say, once a week or 2 or 3 times a week. The data gets out there really quickly, and all you need is one person to say, oh my god, this deck's broken, it's got a 70% win rate, with their thumbnail like going, and they just clickbait people in, and you look inside and it's literally just like stock blue-red prowess with like an Into the Floodmore in the main instead. Do I think Steam Vents is a little overrepresented in standard? Yeah, probably, but the Steam Vents decks, if you like, so you've got prowess, you've got spell elementals and lessons, which are all straight blue-red, and they're all very, very different. So is the fact that them all together is like 40-45% of the meta good? No, probably not. I think green, white, and black cards should also be playable, but they are very different, and that's at least okay. Keep an eye, I think, in the off-season, especially with Strixhaven looking like it is higher up there in terms of power in a lot of places. I think they need to keep an eye, even though it's not going to be an active RCQ season. They need to curate their format appropriately. They need to not have it geared around 1-mana spells. They need to, I think, anyway, push it more mid-range, and like all these sweet Witherbloom cards, like all these sweet black-green cards, like actually give them a place and let us play 3-mana, destroy target creature or planeswalker, gain a life, like, instead of just looking at it and going, 3-mana removal, that's unplayable. But yeah, I mean, Lorwyn seemed to have a nice impact. All the elementals initially It looked like Deceit was going to be a problem. Turned out that it's just a good role player.
It's just fine.
Yeah,
just
it's
fine.
just fine. Wistfulness is a really interesting one to have in the format as well. It's like an actually playable naturalize for a lot of decks, which is a good thing when Lessons is running around and artifacts and enchantments are running around. So, like in Vivi world, when you had both Profts and Soul Cauldron to deal with, you couldn't play that many naturalizers because it tagged Fear of Missing Out as well. But then sometimes they just went Steam Core Scholar and you died, or they just did the Soul Cauldron thing like in that turn, or they just played a Quantum Riddler. There's a million and one ways that they could have got around it. But now, if you get rid of all the monuments from Lessons does struggle to win the game.
True.
And that's a good place to be in what is, and speaking from experience from playing it, what is ostensibly kind of a bullshit combo control deck. The fact that you can actually fight against it is really, really good. And yeah, I think the only issue might be blue-red prowess, where we could see that becoming more of a problem as the format gets bigger and bigger and bigger, because that feeds off of 1-mana spells so heavily. And that's been a recurring theme for the last couple of years of Standard, where the best decks are often just the ones that can abuse 1-mana spells the best. So I hope we move away from that. But yeah, format's fine. I'm looking forward to playing Store Champs.
Yeah, like it kind of we kind of came away from it, but yeah, powerful 1-mana spells means that even if we've got sweet mid-range stuff, without either like the ways to protect ourselves or to vamp to it, it's gonna struggle to see play when you can just be really, really efficient with something that's low to the ground. So it's definitely worth keeping an eye on. You mentioned Store Champs. I had a bit of a look before we started on MTG top decks to just kind of go on the top list of the meta and go like, what decks are in here that have appeared recently or have like done well. I went about 17 archetypes deep before I was like, what the hell is that? Which again, I think is really great to show that like actually I would be happy if any of those decks were my preference to like learn it, refine it, play well, and still keep it going and still like, play some locals. And as we mentioned, yeah, like Store Champs, this is one of those moments where I'm more than happy to go to X and say, if you don't openly say you're watching, Mr. Rasmussen, I'm pretty sure some of your friends are, because we've seen really sweet promos come out for the upcoming Store Champ season. We were afraid that Store Champs might have been going away again, because we had that moment where we didn't see him in TMNT and we didn't see him in Avatar. So I think we've just basically now got a precedent of these are in-universe set events, and
which is fine. If that's the way they're going to work it, that's fine.
Yeah. So we have, going backwards, if we're turning up, you get an Unearth, which cool. Fringe modern playable card, not too bad. You got then Psychic Frogs, really sweet new art for Psychic Frog, which like again, I love how they've done that. They haven't just gone and like hit the reprint button, and they've made something like collectible effectively.
Isn't Psychic Frog also like £8 to £10 as well?
Yeah. So most Store Champs,
even if you don't want to play it, you're getting a reasonable value out of it.
Yeah, and this kind of really arcs into something that we always say about like it doesn't.
Whoa, they're so cheap.
Really? Have you just dispelled the myth of frogs are about?
Yeah, they're like £5.
But even then, let's go back to
it's still not bad. At least it's playable. That's the thing, and I think the only reason Frog is €5, not 10, 15,
not
20,
being played,
is Frog's fallen off. And all we've seen recently in the Dimir space is like the one Shitong decks.
Yeah, exactly.
And there's not a lot else. There's no one flying the flag of what I used to be doing, which is playing unplayable like Psychic Frog 6 Life from the Lone Piles.
Yeah. No, they were the days. We loved
Devastated.
Keeping the Dimir theme up, Abhorrent Oculus in a wonderful, wonderful full art, which we just know is going to be 60, 70 quid plus, even when it levels out post the hype. Great card, great playable card, great collectible.
It's going to be playable in Standard. Yeah, so we haven't seen as much like Jeskai Oculus. recommission, helping hand, that sort of thing as much recently. But Oculus is still a really powerful Magic card, and if you can find even a half decent way to get it out of the graveyard, or just casting it, if you're just discarding some cards and then casting it, that's just good. That's just reasonable. Like, it is a really powerful card. It is only 3 mana. Yes, you need to jump through some hoops and have stuff in your graveyard, but as any half experienced Magic player knows, your graveyard is just another resource. And the more you play with Oculus, the more familiar you become with it. You can line it up. So I think it's gonna be relevant for standard as a minimum. It's legal for so damn long now that it's just stuff's gonna come up that works well with it. It's that kind of card. Like Birthing Ritual in Modern, for example, where they're flipping it because it's a 3-drop and ignoring the other costs. Stuff like that is just going to work really well with it. I'm just trying to look. Actually, it's legal until early 2027. So it's
Yeah, so the new rotation, which we know is going to be the on
like
paper
January, isn't it?
January
Yeah.
window. We haven't had confirmation yet if it's going to literally be January 1st or it's going to be pre-release date of, but I'm going to guess it's pre-release date
Of the first set of
the
the
first
year.
set is going to
Yeah.
be the rotation, which we won't now probably know until we might learn something in Vegas upcoming. We're just never too sure. So, suddenly
They normally announce stuff in Vegas, right? But
yeah.
all we have for now is we know Star Trek's coming out in November sometime.
Yeah, sometimes they like to drop like a year and a half's worth of previews, and sometimes they like to wait until 2 months before to like tell us like the next 5 sets. But to mention Oculus, I actually noted as well. There's a YouTube streamer Beefy GG who just also had another great run with it in Crixus Reanimator in Modern. They just won a Modern Challenge with it, a really big one in fact as well. So like the card always sees that sort of fringe elements of Modern play as well. Another classic, like Modern, will do the merry-go-round of can I play a graveyard deck or can I not? When you can, and you can play these fast decks, the Grixis Reanimator Shell with Frog, Arcana Cruelty, and Oculus is actually a really, really good deck and a really fun deck to play as well. Especially as well if you're new to Modern. That's one of those ones where like the intricacies of the lines aren't that hard. It's more like fill graveyard, reanimate thing, go.
Yeah, and then it's you get the drip feed of like learning how to play around stuff and see how other decks fight against you. Like Saga decks might be doing Soul Guide Lantern stuff, Blue White Control might be doing Rest in Peace type stuff, and then figuring out your backup plans. But again, Psychic Frog's a part of that deck, and Psychic Frog's a hell of a backup plan. But just while we are talking about Modern challenges, I just want to shout out Allosaurus combo won yesterday in the hands
Yeah,
of
Myra.
Myra00. Shout out to you, mate. Good one. One Wistfulness in this list. I like that. That's a nice one. One Atraxa. That feels low. 2 Generosent, 2 Golter, 1 Grizzlebrand, 4 Allosaurus Rider, Ureni in the main deck. That'll be for Boros, just because there's so much of it. 3 Pact to Negation is a lot. 3 Veil of Summer in the main board.
Yeah, they call it on their X, and obviously, yeah, Myra, if it was a guest on last week's show, and if you don't like follow all of their socials, you don't want to get better at Magic the Gathering, I think. So, go follow Myra.gg or Myra_GG wherever you can, specifically on YouTube here, because whether they recorded this or not, again, if they probably, I hope they did sit there and record it, but if they didn't, hopefully they're going to do like a deck profile about what they did. It was actually Universe MTG's actual list. So another member of Worldly Council who is again just straight up crushing it. So like not even surprised at this point when you see them winning elements like that. And yeah, Modern is on the horizon. We also do have London on the horizon from Standards perspective. We mentioned we tend to not really touch on any new sets until we know all the cards are here, and we like to kind of have a big run through. In the run up with London now, though, coming like just about a month away, like when we think about it, the one bit
Ugh.
Yeah, where's the year gone? Right, we're suddenly in May.
Well, we're in April currently, but the
We'll be
spotlight's
in
in
it.
May. Yeah.
Yeah, it will be in May. Is probably as another bookend. We thought, hey, whoa, we're gonna have so many sets come out this year, and yeah,
Can I just say you sounded exactly like a Minecraft zombie then?
well,
You just in the middle. You just went. "Brr."
awesome. Somebody clip that for sure. We we got TMNT come out now, like highs and lows. I actually think from like around the set, everything was fine. The set existing, obviously, everything that came before it ruined it, but it's had zero shift in where like all meta games are. Like, okay, there's a new 4 of in White Weenie in Pauper. There is
But it doesn't feel like it's made White Weenie that much better, or that it's just like slightly different now, and
you could do
maybe
a
it's.
surveillance combo thing in modern, but is it better? Is it worse? Who knows?
I
There, like,
mean, that's what I'm trying to express. We'll get into modern decks later on, but and then you got like Casey Jones and Jeskai Blink as well, right? But yeah, in terms of standard impact, next to nothing. The odd bit or piece here and there, if that. But to be honest, I'm kind of happy from a selfish perspective that we're not all playing Michelangelos and Leonardos. But we need to, as enfranchised players, and shout out to everyone who comments on our TikToks and our YouTube shorts and on our YouTube videos that get really upset when I say stuff that doesn't perfectly align with how you feel. Shout out to all of you. I do read all of them. And
here it comes.
Yeah, here it comes. We need to make the game a friendlier place for the new players that are coming in because of these IPs. It doesn't matter how upset you are that the IPs exist. They are here to stay and they are not going anywhere. That is just the absolute reality of this. The quality of them will go up and down as they have done while we've been having them. Assassin's Creed was pretty mid. Final Fantasy, Lord of the Rings, Avatar, all really good. Spider-Man, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, not good. That's going to keep happening. Marvel Superheroes is one of those ones where it feels icky to me because it doesn't feel like Magic. It's not like Magic, it's superheroes, which is different. But the world is wide enough that I think they could give it a fair shake. So we'll wait and see what happens with that. But if someone comes into the game and they're a huge Avatar fan, they go, I want to play with Avatar cards. You can go, here's Bant Airbending, here's Allies, here's Lessons. And they talked about this in some of the BNR announcements. I can't remember. It might have been Carmen. But how they're basically seeding decks into these UB sets for this reason. And if someone comes into the game and they go, I'm a huge fan of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, I want to play a Ninja Turtles deck, there isn't one, they're not going to start playing the game. If you can go, hey, here's an airbending combo deck, it uses Aang and Appa and all these like fan favorite characters, but also here's some in-universe magic cards, it uses Doc Orlok. And then they go, what the hell is Doc Orlok? It's weird. That's a bear in a cowboy hat. And then they go, okay, Outlaws of Thunder Junction. What's that? And then they move on from there. You can't just go, hey, we've got Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles cards. And then someone turns up and goes, I want to play Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. But there's nothing there for them. And
yeah, true.
As much as it makes me happy that I'm not playing with Leonardo and Donatello and all these things, would it be a bad thing if 1% of the meta was like a red-white aggro deck with like some turtles in it or whatever? Or there was a Super Shredder mono-black deck or whatever? In fact, is Super Shredder in the black-red monument decks?
No, and this is it. Like the impact.
In fact, where even is Monument?
It's right down around about 20th place. Yeah. Like, this shows how deep the meta is, though. Like, that's a very playable deck, but is actually
Yeah,
not even
mad.
up there. Yeah, like we definitely have seen that it was a great draft. It's a great draft environment. Like if anybody has tried TMNT, it's reasonable draft. Like it plays well. Like
For a
there's
small set, it's good.
yeah, it plays well. Also, like you say, it's had very it's had some fringe playables in Pauper and in Modern. I don't think
Gungala and
it,
such,
it could
whatever
have
is written on Casey Jones.
it could have happened in there could have been Pioneer stuff, but
Who cares?
none of us are really looking. I think Super Shredder also, from what I understand, also does really well in Legacy because of the amount of obviously permanents, the graveyard stuff, so Moon Shadow and
Sure.
that.
That's
But
probably off the power of Dark Ritual, him to Torak more than anything, but
yeah, exactly. So, and we're in the world of, are you just playing it because it's a new card, and do you even need to bother? Yeah, Casey Jones is exactly a great card. Is perfect for Jeskai Blink. They don't. But it's kind of mainly perfect because Modern Horizons 3 exists and Consigned to Memory exists. So,
I
does it?
wonder how many problems Consigned to Memory is actually going to cause, because it does feel like a necessary evil at the minute, because if it didn't exist, I feel like Eldrazi and Tron and like Stompy, Broodscale, all of these things would be like problems. But
Yeah,
also, we are getting the backhanded smack from it swinging past of, oh yeah, by the way, I'm scamming Flage, I'm scamming Quantum Riddler, I'm scamming Casey Jones, like all of these things where it's like, well, can't we have like just the thing that does the good thing against Eldrazi without doing the bullshit with Quantum Riddler? And the answer's no, because of how the game works. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how much of a problem Consign's actually going to end up being. You can feel free to clip this as well. If it ends up
yeah.
just being fine, then shout at me, laugh at me, tell me I'm an idiot. But I'm a little worried about Consigned to Memory in how prevalent it's going to have to become.
Are we going to get to a point where, like, when it comes to like Jeskai piles, so maybe it'll mean that you have to be playing a certain deck because without the sort of, as we say, scammy bullshit, you wouldn't be able to
I,
get anywhere.
I think it might come to a point where if you're not playing blue in Modern, you need to be playing a combo deck.
Yeah, I would. That wouldn't
And
surprise me.
yeah, I mean, I've been doing a bit of testing. I was testing a lot of affinity stuff, and I was trying even like odd ones that didn't even have blue in, and I immediately turned around and went, I cannot play this without Consigned to Memory. Metallic Rebuke was a part of that as well, but just like some form of cheap interaction. Missing Consign from a deck and trying to play a long game or play a fair game just doesn't feel like it works at all, because you're just going to get run over by any of the Eldrazi decks. And you can talk about MH3 and about how Ugin's Labyrinth was a problem, and how a lot of people said we shouldn't have soul lands in Modern, even if they're conditional, which I I pretty much agree with. It's also part of the reason why I take umbrage with Amulet Titan existing as well, because it just breaks the mana paradigm of the game. Cards cost what they cost because that's what they're meant to cost. I'm not a huge fan of the evoke, ephemerate, not dead after all stuff. I'll do it and I'll play it because it's powerful and I'm a competitive player. Do I think it's necessarily the most healthy environment that we could be trying to introduce people to with an RCQ season? Possibly not, but I, I don't know how you fix it. That's the thing, is Modern right now is extremely powerful, but it's also extremely balanced. So when people a couple of weeks ago were like, "Oh, we need to ban Flage, we need to nerf Boros and Jeskai because their numbers at the top of the meta are the highest." Boros and Jeskai aren't bad decks to have at the top of the meta. They pay mana for their spells by and large, aside from some Solitude Ephemerate stuff from Jeskai. But it's fine. The cards are really good. They're really powerful, but like they're mostly just paying mana for their spells, and you can attack them in various ways. And that's good.
Yeah.
That's just a good thing. And
Well, we got
we'll
that.
see.
We got this to talk about obviously before we like delve into our thoughts of like where we're going to be attacking modern TMNT, for me, if I had to give it a report card, but I was able to take out of I've taken the whole set out of standard legality, right? I would have given it a really solid report. I think if something like that could have existed, where like the cards go into only eternal formats, it's like a relatively cheap draft experience, easily collectible for people who love it for lore, maybe a commander deck or two. I think these sort of, and again, people will clip us on Twitter, or they'll find us and go, he's one of them corporate shills. But I think like if UB's got a place, the place it could have would be a supplementary small eternal format set, which would focus on getting reprints in. Let's just not take away from some of the problems that we are still seeing. You know, cars are expensive, things are overpriced, and
People got really upset with me talking about Quantum Riddler being reprinted.
damn, I tell you that it's
Like,
yeah, you got to
it
think
blew
about
my
it.
mind. But it's like, this is a standard legal card, and it's like 50 quid.
Well, you got to think about it's been so, you know, like you looking through the Twitter internet, and you know people are enjoying this weekend. It's the return of modern RCQs. Some of the good old grinders are coming out and are rejoicing. Fine, I agree. It's time for a modern RCQ season. I'm not going to sit here as the standard pariah and go like we need standard all the time, thrown down until morale improves. But but we got problems in respect of the reason why modern's okay for your average standard person who's been invested is because their standard deck is
The same
expensive.
price as their modern deck.
Is expensive enough that they can transition. It didn't come down. It just went up. And like that's a really bad economy. Remember when we used to absolutely peg Arena for being so expensive? It was like we just couldn't actually believe that you'd have to pay like $8.99 for basically like 8 digital mythic wildcards. No one talks about Arena's costs anymore because it's been normalized upwards. Yeah, but that's where that's the sort of lost takeaway is that standard's in a great place, modern's in a great place.
Yeah, they're just too fucking expensive.
Use these supplementary points where you want to sell product to sell us the product that makes our overall decks cheaper. Like
they're already doing the skins. That's what pisses me off so much, is they've already got the technology, and it's like pretty good technology. And I spoke about it a couple of weeks ago where Manhole Missile could have just been Lightning Bolt. And does Lightning Bolt need a reprint? No, not really. It's like a quid, 2 quid, and it's not even that played outside of prowess. But if there was a Quantum Riddler in one of these sets, and it was take your pick, it could be pretty much anything, as long as it flies and it makes sense for drawing cards. Why could Quantum Riddler in, I suppose Krang would have to be an artifact. I'm trying to delve into like my TMNT knowledge.
Why couldn't one of the superheroes that flies in this upcoming superhero set just be a Quantum Riddler?
I don't think they can all be legendary, because if you're going to make every character a legendary in the set, you're going to have huge problems.
That is part of the problem. The sort of you'd lose the commander appeal if you reprinted in that way. But then
no, you wouldn't.
Well, they wouldn't be able to use the commanders.
And every single commander player wants at least one Quantum Riddler.
True.
Because it's really fucking good in Commander, because it's really good everywhere else. And as much as Commander is basically a different game using the same rules template, powerful cards are still powerful. Like Wheel of Fortune's good in Commander. It's good in competitive Magic as well. If you just skinned Quantum Riddler into like a Final Fantasy skin, people would go ape shit for it. Because, oh, I'm sorry, I'm just going to interrupt this. I've just got a pet on Old School RuneScape and I'm very excited about it. With Quantum Riddler, just skin it. And I don't even understand why people were getting upset at me saying Quantum Riddler needs a reprint. Because I I own 4, so it's not even from the perspective of
I want to buy them cheaper.
I can't afford it. Meh, 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 meh. I think Mox Opals should be £5 to £10 each. I've got 4. I looked the other day; they're 130 fucking euros, and that upset me. In America, they're over $200 on TCG Player, I think.
That's incredible.
So if you want to get 4 Mox Opals, not the rest of the deck, not the Mox Ambers, not the Tamios, not the Emerys, not the Urza Sagas, not all of these cards that are also expensive, you need to put down $800. You could go out and buy an entire games console and probably a couple of games. That is stupid. That is too much.
They've said previously as well that the art that they commission is never commissioned on the basis of what the card does. It's always based on what they want to achieve on the art as well, right? So, like, if we even just looked at some of the more recently released secret layers. So I'm gonna pull up one off the site, and I'll have to obviously overskin this on the actual episode. But if I just look at the secret layer Dungeons and Dragons Gale's Ambition. So there's a brainstorm in here, I get it. There's an Archmage's Charm. Like, why isn't the Archmage's Charm, you might take
a playable card?
But why don't they just use that art for Quantum Riddler? Like they could have just called this card Quantum Riddler, and they would just, it would have helped the sales. There you go. Like that could have just, a spacey. It's like
Gale with his beautiful chest out.
Yeah,
I am a Gale girly for the people wondering on my Baldur's Gate 3 playthrough. I am a Gale girly. You could. It would be, and like, you can look at it and go, oh well, it doesn't really fit. Like, Gale isn't a Quantum Riddler. And it's like,
he's not an Archmage's Charm either, though.
He's a wizard, I suppose. But it's like, at this point, who cares? Like, some of the art is quite dissonant, especially with some of the UB stuff, where, like, skateboard. Why does that tap a creature, man? Are you throwing the skateboard at them? Are you doing a mad kickflip into their jaw and it, like, knocks them over? Why it gives haste, that makes sense. It's a skateboard. +1/+0, sure. You can fudge the numbers on that. Why does it tap a thing when it enters? Do they, like, fall over it? I don't know. So, skateboard, again, could have just been Lava Spur Boots. And yes, Lava Spur Boots, not an expensive card, but if you're going to skin cards, you need to skin, like, top to bottom. You need to do a lot of it. And in terms of the commons and the uncommons and the stuff like that, if you're going to make these sets standard legal, that's fine. It just means you change what reprints you put into them. And do I think we should be putting Guide of Souls and Ocelot Pride in standard? No. Absolutely. However, Quantum Riddler, if you just go, look, this follows the legality of the Edge of Eternity's Quantum Riddler, and, like, this set is just supplementary. It's not actually, like, in the standard release schedule. It's just all the commons and the uncommons are, like, violently unplayable. And then all the rares and mythics, even if you just want to, like, try and print money out of it, just put them all at fucking rare and mythic. Because, yes, that will, like, not suppress the price as much as Quantum Riddler being reprinted as a common in the next set. Because, yeah, then it would be 5p, if that. But, so they can get their money from it. They can go, hey, look, this set's really popular. It's sold a lot. People are playing with the cards. You can see them playing with the cards. On Arena, we've sold all these skins for gems for these cards. Look at how much money this makes. Give us more of your IPs. We'll do a really good job with them. And then we also get cheaper cards. And I am not a TMNT fan, but I bought the TMNT Arcbound Ravagers because they were £3 instead of 10.
Yeah. And when you do this skinning, it does also have this effect. The things become achievable, because ultimately these secret lists cost $29.99 or $39.99 depending on the foil or non-foil, which ultimately means for that window, once they've been released, whilst they're still available, people can go, hey, you can't overcharge me for this card because I could just go buy the drop myself and I can just get it.
The issue is when they skin cards worth like $6.50.
Yeah,
and sell them for 30 quid. That's the issue. It was one of the Lord of the Rings ones, wasn't it?
Well, I'm just still on the Dungeons and Dragons Strahd's Descent one where they've skinned the Voldaren Estate land into that, and Voldaren Estate is about 30p. Well, you could have just skinned it with that skin and called it Cavern of Souls, and you would have sold this layer out, and it wouldn't still be available.
Does the flavor exactly match up? Maybe not.
You'll have Vampire Tribal. Like that's where you put the deck. That's what you put that into. You've got a Vampire deck at home. You just put Cavern of Souls.
Who cares at this point? Or if you care about the identity of Magic and the visual identity of Magic and the artistic identity of it, which I personally do, I don't want it to come across like I don't. That's why I play pre-modern. I very much try and get in-universe Magic cards where I can. I like the old style of Magic cards. I own beta basics, all of these things. But I also have the Appa lands because I think they're cute and I haven't watched a lot of Avatar, but I like Appa. You can do both. We don't need to be this bipartisan system where you've got one side going, I think UB is the death of Magic, and then the other side going, you're stupid, I like Fortnite. And that's just not the way that people should be in life as well as in Magic. We should not be bipartisan. Shout out America for your shitty political system. We get nowhere by drawing lines and putting people on either side of the line.
That's true.
I will discuss this in the comments with people. If people want to sit and say I'm wrong and an idiot, that's fine. I'll try and engage in a discussion with you. If all you're going to do is sit there and be a child and go, you're stupid, you've never watched, what was the one we had a couple of weeks ago? I've never watched an interview of one of Magic's designers because they are negligent at best. It's like, if you are listening to this and you made that comment, shout out to you because you genuinely annoyed me, because that's just wrong. And it's not a case of opinion, because if they were negligent, the game wouldn't have been around for 33 years.
Exactly. The game is arguably smashing it still. Arguably.
It is. Their revenue's higher than it. We're keeping the entirety of fucking Hasbro afloat, dude.
And that's all the board games that nobody buys
anymore.
Yeah,
that's everything. That's Monopoly. That's everything. D&D and Magic are entirely keeping Hasbro afloat.
And Monopoly Go. We can't forget Monopoly Go.
Not actually making that much money. Compared to Arena, it's making piss all.
Exactly. And Arena being one of those places where still you can't really actually play modern. So it's going to be...
But I've played Timeless, and Deathrite Shaman was fine in Timeless, so it'll be fine in modern. Unban it.
Oh, let's leave that for a completely other episode, because we are not going to get on. We are not going to get on to modern otherwise. Obviously, the whole premise of this whole channel is about our experiences and gameplay that we go ourselves and go and get our decks out. Modern will be the point of the summer now where we'll see the return of quite a lot of old players. We'll see some new players from standard worlds jumping over to modern for the first time. Obviously, you could be a little bit more direct on deck selection and deck, should we just say mastery when it comes to modern. But you don't always necessarily land on one particular deck or two particular decks. I thought we'd obviously wrap up today just to almost think about, before, as we're headed into, and if our first RCQ being on the 25th of April, if you are local, if you're basically in the UK, please head down. The whole thing put on by ourselves, the Get Your Deck Out team. All prizes come from ourselves. You can get your hands on our Get Your Deck Out boxes. Scott can grab one because he's probably got one closer to me.
I don't have one in immediate reach.
Oh, no! Sorry. They will be available.
We'll get Dave to do some editing work. He'll put the Ko-Fi link on the screen.
2 seconds.
Okay, let's watch Dave fall over. Oh, we saw
I just
Dave's
badly
back.
positioned them. Here they are. The Get Your Deco box is not the top one. That's a rival competitor. But just to show you, but no, an actual these guys.
Oh,
But
I mean, I've got one of them on my desk, but
just to show you, it's
honestly, shout out to Ultimate Guard.
basically,
If you don't want to get the Get Your Deck Out ones, get one of these. They're good,
basically,
but ours are nice.
These are cool. These are cool. Ours are repping the channel, repping the Get Your Deck Out logo. They are very, very cheap, and you can go via the Ko-Fi and pick those up. If you are in our Discord, there's an extra special link you can use if you're likely to see us in person to get a little bit more money off.
And if you want to come down to the RCQ and you order some and you put in the order notes like, "Oh, I'll collect this at the RCQ,"
or you could use your prize war money to get we're going to do some spot door prizes as well. We've got some just bits of merch, bits of stuff that we're looking to give away to people.
And also, I just want to point out for this RCQ as well, we've been to so many where people just like throw packs at top 8 and say go away. We didn't want to do that, so we've got deck boxes, we've got play mats. We're doing some spicy stuff.
We got loads of stuff going for us, and obviously, as usual, our friends over at trolltrader.com, trolltradercards.com, supporting a boost to the prize pool, ultimately based upon the people who's going. But we want to make sure judges are paid, always looked after for hosting us, and once all that's sorted, everything's flowing straight back into prizes, back to players. But,
or paying for us to go to London. We'll see.
We'll see. Maybe we'll win, and that will pay for us to go to London. We can always use the funds. We can always send the Get Your Deck Out credit card somewhere else.
We're not winning. Let's be real.
Let's be real. Well, we'll see, because ultimately, I guess it'll be about choices that we're making. I'll start. Obviously, Prowess is long built for me. Like, having been the mono red gamer, and I was pretty up on like the early Corey steel cutter builds in standard, and like I was very much part of Corey hype. Correctly banned as quickly as it was, because it actually was one of the main reasons why Prowess is a very solid, very playable modern deck at the moment. Helps to have a little bit of extra legs when you're playing against some of these more controlling matchups. And I think definitely for me is probably going to be what I'm rocking early season. As we've said on the channel loads, I'm still a relatively modern newbie, like as in my reps are lower. Obviously, I've repped a lot more of the standard and pioneer times in our local store. So, as an older gentleman, we only have certain amount of times we can play. And with modern only playable on Magic Online, where I do love my Magic Online sessions where I sit by my PC. When you're in the office there, you're not like lounging on the couch with your partner, like literally being at least omnipresent. I definitely feel like, yes, I can leverage just experience that I've had with aggro decks with some powerful cards. I've certainly had a bit of a go at Jeskai Blink. I've seen the hype. I've seen the Casey Joneses have them. They were part of my early pickups with Rakdos Monument for Standard. So when I saw them kind of like spiking a little, I was like, that's one of those little win moments. You forget all the other things you pre-ordered that go to zero. you just remember the play set you bought for £2 going up to £4. Like, they're the ones where you're like, big brain.
I mean, I bought Corey's for 90 cents each. So
Corey's on the cheap. Like, I remember looking at it, and by the time all my Corey's arrived, they were about £15 each, and I like had the whole play set for about 12 with postage.
Nice.
I was like, that was momentumly there. But I think that's where I'm landing. I feel like definitely Prowess is well positioned. I definitely need to put the reps in with Blink to kind of. I think it's a deck that you need to have a little bit more of a. It's not control, but you do need to have a little bit more of a resource understanding.
It's heavy. It's heavy mid range. It's not a control deck.
Yeah, but you can't just jam your best cards and get away with it all the time.
You can't just like play cards at random and hope that you're going to get there.
So that'll be where you'll find me jamming a lot of the streets. If you ever find me up on Twitch or on the channel, like booting up the live stream, I think it's going to be. It looks well positioned. It looks like something I want to be playing. And obviously, if you are in that kind of same streets in the comments, let us know. But like I see, Scott, you've mentioned your Mox Ultball gaming.
Don't ask me. I don't know, David. Yeah, something with Mox Opal still. I after saying, "Oh, I've moved house now. I'm gonna not be quite as busy." Life stuff has decided to kick me in every soft place on my body where I haven't actually had a huge amount of time to be prepping, and that's prepping standard or modern, which we kind of need to be doing both at the minute.
Mhm.
Where in standard, I've got spell elementals, I've got lessons. If I need to just like pick one a week before, find the list, and then just like hammer that list for a little bit, have a look at the other decks in the meta and decide how to play it. With modern, I'm trying to do a little bit more work with like surveillance cam combo type stuff where it does feel powerful. It does feel a little bit grinding breachy, but getting that build right is so difficult where you do need to put so much time into, do I want this one of? Do I want this one of? How many cards do I have in my saga package? Do I need a backup plan? Even just macro stuff like that takes so long to figure out and feels like it differs week on week sometimes, let alone the little micro decisions like, oh, what are my last two sideboard slots going to be? I might just default to weapons manufacturing affinity, which seems to be doing at least okay. I was on weapons manufacturing early. Long-term fans of the channel will have seen my black-red weapons manufacturing league with Rottenmouth Viper, but that deck wasn't that good. I was kind of sitting there thinking, oh man, I should probably put Kappa Cannoneer in this. Turns out that was significantly more correct, and players much better than me figured that out for me. But I have that as a backup. I can always play Jeskai, I can play Boros, I can play Gorios. I'm in a very fortunate position where I can adjust based on what the meta does, and I'm going to be keeping an eye on the first couple of weeks of RCQ results. Wait and see what happens with that. If it turns out that someone's come up with a new build of Gorios that's really good against Boros and Jeskai and doesn't lose to the bad matchups that it used to, and it's like running the streets and doing really well, I'll probably be able to build it. I'm lucky to be in that position. But for now, I've got Mox Opal in my deck box. We'll wait and see. Shout out Dave from Full Fire. We've been having some chats about surveillance combo, and he is a well-known combo fanatic, specifically
Loves
with
them.
Mox Opal.
Loves them.
He did send me a deck list that has 6 and Life from the Loam in it. So that's my shit, and I'm in.
He knows your language, doesn't he? Fair play.
He does. He does. We were speaking the same language, we're singing from the same hymn sheet, but we've been pretty deep in it. Do you play Vivi? Do you play Teema? Do you play blue-red? Do you play blue-green? Well, because Vivi, so if
it makes sense. It does.
if you
Yeah,
can't
yeah.
mill them out, Vivi just kills them. But there was one list with, I think it was Retraction Helix and Vivi.
Wow.
And yeah, people are like in the space and they are deep in it. They are deep in the source.
And you know what? This is the one little bit of
It's so good, isn't it? It's
yeah,
so good.
it's gonna tickle the excitement of like modern being back to like prevalent paper play. Like we've always said about the Magic Online League discourse is, ultimately people are paying money to basically go 3-2. Like let's take away like the winners, right? Ultimately, if you can go 3-2 a Magic Online, you're consistently basically like turning a profit. So you're trying to basically do your best with a deck that is around about 52 to 53%. So
Which is all you need.
which is all you need, right? So the reasoning of splashing and brewing like kind of like gets left open to like people like Spike and people who just got unlimited resources. But what ends up happening with paper modern play happening and coming back like this is meta start to sort of like congeal around your local set of stores. Like you suddenly go, oh, there's loads of Boros Energy players there. We're gonna like splash black for something or whatever like that. Like, and it is the kind of like little innovation then suddenly springs up like a magic deck out of nowhere. Like we started to see like the odd sort of Selesnya energy thing happen, and like whether it's good or not, it was good enough for someone to make use of a meta call to then win a thing and stuff like that. So yeah, lots of excitements in that space. And it's probably like from anything we've learned from like the last 3 episodes. So if you haven't yet, and if you've stumbled across this whole thing, you've got to 50 minutes and you're still listening, well, you probably
Thank you.
should thank you. But what you really need to do is go back in order, listen to Eduardo Sergio Clerc, and then Simon Nielsen, and then Myra, who will literally be like your lesson in preparation and
Just go
planning
back
for
and listen to them all.
playing. Yeah,
There's only like 30, 40 hours of podcast content. Just go back,
that's
listen to
true.
them all.
But that will help readjust your mindset. You plan, prepare, make your make your game plan around what you're playing, and you're already halfway to winning if you start from that kind of mindset. And I think for me, I'm going to start strong with what I know, how to play with cards that I know how they interact and how they do well. And then if during the season I've found that I've really started to find an edge, or I've really started to find a way that I'm sort of making the most out of the local meta by adjusting to something like Jeskai Blink. I still have like stuff for Leyline Zoo. I guess there's a reason why I was thinking about it.
Domain Zoo's actually been doing quite well
Yeah, like
recently,
obviously similar decks.
Storekeeper Thrall's actually been really impressive.
Yeah, similar decks, and recent guest host Smurfy just recently top dated channel as well, on the channel as well. I think again you go check him out on X again as usual. He's one for sharing, that boy. Like as soon as like he's done really well with something, he doesn't hide his information. So it's out there and ready to look at. But yeah, exciting window. We got this all the way up until July. And yeah, one other note though in that is it's not just Modern we got to prep for. We finally had the announcement from our friends at the Bristol Pauper League that they've got a massive tournament coming out on June the 6th. The Urza's Saga, as they're calling it, is a 128 player IPT affiliated pauper event. So for those of you who don't know that into that too well, what it basically means is like you get buys at the further pauper gardens and you get points for everything that's related to that.
It's basically linked into the wider pauper scene.
Yeah. There's going to be numerous vendors. There's going to be numerous artists. There's some fantastic prizing.
There's going to be 2 shitty podcast hosts there as well.
We're going to be there, probably relatively underprepared because we've got loads of standard and modern to play, but I will do my very, very best to bring Boggles in its finest form.
I went to a weekly pauper event the other day, and yeah, my deck was a little out of date, shall we say, and it didn't go super well.
So what you're going to see from us here on the channel is we're going to definitely be trying to make sure that we're well prepped for that, and we make sure whatever deck we do get out on the day, we've had a few chats with some well-known pauper experts to kind of understand a little bit what's going on with the format, and maybe a tier list or two so that we can realize where we really stand in the meta. So we're excited for that coming up on June the 6th. Links to the tickets in the description. And I know everybody under the sun always says, like, go get them now, it's going to sell out. But something tells me this was selling out when Accrington Stanley sold out a 90-person event. Exactly. I'm pretty sure this event with this stature is going to do. Now, bear in mind as well, like Bristol have 35 people for locals every week. So, like, and Accrington Stanley is like about 7 hours away. So you lot come down to Bristol, show them what's up, show them what is the what is the more dominant area of the UK when it comes to pauper, and on such a high level. As the call out, North
the
versus
gauntlet,
South.
bang down.
North versus South. Yes, we're excited to see. But Scott, we are probably we're probably time for us to go and try our new shirts on. and time for us to go and see if our shoes still fit. People can join us next week where Strixhaven will be previewed. We will be starting to think about, hey, what does the prep for London look like? So if you want to be part of that,
We're probably going to end up having like a pretty big old chat about Strixhaven and standard and everything next week. So if that's your jam and you want like an hour of us getting in the weeds and knowing me and Dave probably arguing about stuff,
yeah, we're going to be getting right into the weeds of standard and modern, and how these decks are going to affect how decks are going to get affected by these cards that we've seen, what we're planning to do, and how you can be part of any preparation we've got for some of these big events. Come join the conversation down in the Discord in the comments, but any of the socials. Deckbox link is there as well. If you want to have a better place to put your deck away, come get your deck out with us. Until next time,
peace and love. That's a really intense little stare there, Dave.
I need a better sign off. Like again, like so, like in the description, like honestly, like I'm taking Scott's like after the finish bit here. In the description, if you've got a better sign off than what I've got, then just write it. I'll probably adopt it.
Just like rub a balloon against your head and just have it stay there.
Just like
something
throw,
like that.
So just like throw loads of cards up in the air. And go, until next time.
No, because then it just becomes a pain in the ass every time. My little thing for after this, I did legitimately get a boss pet on RuneScape while we were recording, and
it's yet to be seen if I cut that out or not. But at least now you've said it.
If Dave left that in, then all power to him. But I'll send him I'll send him the screenshot of it as well. You can put it on the screen now. But yeah, I legitimately got the beef pet. So in RuneScape, when you've got bosses, there's a really small chance to get a pet from them, and it'll like follow you around. For this, they did like a free to play, like super easy boss where if you've got half decent gear, you can just like face roll it and grind it. And I know RuneScape is a grindy game. The pet rate, it's seen as one of the easiest pets to get in the game, and it's 1 out of 1,000. And it took me 1,662.
Oh, not bad.
Not bad. But yeah, RuneScape is a grind. That's my sign-off message today.
If you want to see the Get Your Deck Out Plays channel, Scott plays RuneScape, let us know.
Nah.
See you, everyone.
Peace.